Barack Obama's back, Hillary Clinton's back, Joe Biden's pushing it, the efforts against Elon Musk, the efforts against Marjorie Taylor Greene, the most sustained assault on the First Amendment in any 1 week we've had from our government probably in 100 years. So first up, I want to talk about the ongoing attacks on our civil liberties and our God-given right, specifically to petition our government and speak about matters of public concern, which has come under escalating attack in recent days and weeks. We've had Barack Obama, who is the corrupt former president who used federal agencies to try to target and spy on, if not jail, his political opponents, lecturing Americans about the need for the government to come in and regulate, suppress, and censor speech that he thinks is disinformation. So a radical escalation of the attack on the First Amendment from a powerful leader such as Barack Obama is something that ought to be concerning. And then, of course, Hillary Clinton, who many, I think, rightly think is running again or wants to run again for the president, had a similar series of tweets advocating not only for suppression of speech generally, but an international move to suppress speech. So we've got the Biden administration on top of that, also specifically and quite directly calling on social media companies to attack free speech. And all of this is the background of the continuing battle by Elon Musk to try to buy and purchase Twitter, purchase control of Twitter, because he thinks that free speech is being lost on the internet and specifically on the Twitter platform, and he wants to bring it back. So all the left's horses and all the left's men are coming out to try to stop him from doing that. And so on top of that, we've had this hearing, and I don't know if you've watched any of it because I don't think it's been on television generally, but it's been on the internet. You've had the left also target politicians who dare to speak out on matters that they don't want them to speak out on, specifically matters related to disputing the 2020 election. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is an effective conservative voice in Congress, is being targeted by the extremist left, who is taking language in the 14th Amendment about denying people positions of influence in Congress, or essentially seats in Congress, if they engage in insurrection, obviously a post-Civil War amendment, to suggest that they can go and sue her or sue entities to make it impossible for her to be on the ballot because she supported insurrection. So the hearing has her being, the idea that it's gone forward in our court system is an abomination. And on top of that, she's now being, just as I go to do this video, being questioned on First Amendment protected speech, where the leftist lawyer questioning her is suggesting that mentioning 1776 is a reason to question whether or not she wants to overthrow our government and Constitution. It's crazy talk. It's obviously crazy talk. And however offensive and outrageous that process is as it relates to the Constitution and the rule of law and an attack on our civil liberties, it highlights the absurdity of the whole January 6th narrative, where you had a security situation that resulted in some violence and some people being let into the Capitol, in addition to going into the Capitol in violation of the law, being turned into a vehicle to ban anything that the left wants to ban. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of the few members of Congress who tells the truth about the corruption here in Washington, D.C., the ideological extremism of her political opposition, both frankly in the Republican Party too often, and of course the Democratic Party. And so she's hated. Now they tried to do the same thing to Madison Cawthorn, who is a young congressman from North Carolina, right? He's from North Carolina. It's his first term. And because he spoke at a rally prior to the January 6th incident, they tried to pull this, you can't be in Congress anymore. And at least there, a court put a stop to the absurdity of pursuing this effort to keep Cawthorn off the ballot. But it highlights that the left generally has taken the position that if you followed the law, federal law and the Constitution and objected to the way the election was objected, and specifically in Congress, objected to the certification of certain electors because you had concerns about the way the elections were conducted, they're suggesting that you are an insurrectionist and you are ineligible to be in public office. So, I mean, this is the sort of thing we hear and see from one-party states. And you have the extremist left mimicking their ideological cousins in China and in Russia and in Cuba and in Venezuela that seek to ban their political opponents from office or even from running for office. So we have former presidents, wannabe presidents, the current president, the party controlling Congress attacking our core civil rights, our right to petition our government. And what they're trying to do is outlaw effectively in entire sections of their opposition party. So forgive me if I get a little bit heated about this, but I think it's pretty serious. And of course, as citizens, we're all being suppressed and censored by their allies on big tech that they often work with directly to censor Americans, such as me, Judicial Watch, and I'm sure many of you have had your material censored, or even if you haven't had it censored, that you had something typed out and that you couldn't post or it was taken down. Material that otherwise you should have been shown on these internet sites, such as Facebook and Twitter or Instagram or YouTube, you're not able to see. So you're being censored either directly or indirectly in terms of having content that you have a right to see or should have had the right to see about information about what your government's up to, for instance, that being diverted from your eyes. So these are serious times for our republic. And I was on a big podcast or YouTube program, Timcast with Tim Pool earlier this week, and I highlighted that our republic is tottering. And we have to recognize that we've got a power center now in control in large measure here in Washington, D.C. It's not completely in control, obviously. They don't control everything. That kind of reject our constitutional system of government and want to destroy it and want to destroy your civil liberties. And we haven't faced that before, at least in recent history. So these are serious times, and Judicial Watch is going to investigate and speak out and sue and do what we can where we can. But let's not pretend it's not serious, because unless you understand the scope of the problem, because the problem can be addressed with good leadership, I think, where it's going to fester and grow worse. So Barack Obama's back, Hillary Clinton's back, Joe Biden's pushing it, the efforts against Elon Musk, the efforts against Marjorie Taylor Greene, the most sustained assault on the First Amendment in any 1 week we've had from our government probably in 100 years plus. So just another day at Judicial Watch, though, right?
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.